like the west side of Chicago and west suburban communities, but adding new light is not enough. So the commission will invite experts from around the country to offer ideas and share their experiences, good and bad, in addressing comparable circumstances. We may not have a budget yet to accomplish this, but we do have a mighty potent power of persuasion, and I expect that our work will attract a lot of sweat equity support. You all, many of you know what that means. That's good old-fashioned moxie and people who have been through the school of hard knocks in many instances, and people who don't take no for an answer. Finally, the commission will be a convener where all levels of government, city, state, and special purpose units will be invited to work with the commission and grassroots organization to find new solutions to shared concerns. The great beauty of the diverse talent that is on this commission is that collectively we're able to work with all stakeholders. I'm especially heartened by the enthusiasm that each and every person who agreed to be on this commission brings to this effort. This enthusiasm can be both infectious and a force unto itself. It also requires careful attention, and it is my purpose as chair to ensure that every commissioner is able to grow their excitement and commitment going forward. Let's do this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and please allow me to add my welcome to the public. It's extraordinarily important that everyone here participates as fully as possible in the important enterprise upon which we're about to embark. And I would like specifically to thank the chairman for his extraordinary leadership in spearheading this grand experiment about which I'm extraordinarily optimistic, and I think we have reason to be, because we have a good cause and a lot of good-hearted, smart people behind it. Too many people in Cook County are living on the outskirts of hope, and the economic challenges and social problems they face are tougher than ever. Yet the social sector is under enormous stress. Nonprofits can no longer count on government contracts and grants, and charitable resources are inadequate to fund the deepening problems too many face. While public and social sector programming has improved the lives of countless people, so increasingly have market-based business initiatives. Alone and in combination with governments and philanthropic efforts, disruptive business strategies are effectively addressing the most intractable of social problems. For-profit social purpose businesses are defining success in both financial and social returns. While some nonprofits are closing or consolidating for lack of funding, others are becoming entrepreneurial, supplementing charitable donations and government grants with revenue from businesses they own and run. Instrumentalities of mission in their own right. Progressive nonprofits are partnering with each other, and even with traditional businesses, breaking down cultural barriers, leveraging their competencies, and gaining economies of scale. And a growing number of impact investors are deploying capital to test and develop market-based solutions to social problems. The Commission will contribute to the development of our evolving impact ecosystem. It will optimize the county board's role as a convener, as a catalyst, as a collaborator, and as a disruptive agent of change. The importance of this should not go unnoticed. Under Commissioner Garcia's leadership as chairman of this commission, he is changing the role and promise of governments here in Cook County. And my expectation is this will serve as a model for other counties, for other cities and states around the nation and beyond. So I think this effort is important not only because of what we are doing here and now, but because it will be replicated, it will be leveraged, it will be scaled in its own right. What we do will incubate actionable, data-driven social policy recommendations for the county board's consideration. Some socially impactful in the short term, others over the long term. In so doing, the commission will tap into all of the county's resources, transparently and accountably to the public. And as Chairman Garcia described, the committee structure reflects the fact that we have made an effort to take all of the county's assets and assign all of them among 5 different committees. And I'd like to describe for you what the mandate of each of these committees is to be and give you some sense of what sorts of projects each of the committees may consider taking on. The Committee on Public Capital reflects the aggregate body of government-owned assets that are used as a means for private productivity, including highways, airports, roads, transit systems, railways, ports, public schools, public hospitals, police and fire protection, prisons, courts, water and sewer systems, public electric, gas utilities, and telecommunications. Well, public capital investment yields returns in the quality and quantity of indicators such as health and safety, recreation, aesthetics, leisure time and activities. Inadequate public capital impairs the quality of life as well as social well-being. So I'd like to identify 3 different areas that the Committee on Public Capital may wish to look at. One is the future of urban transportation. The Cook County Board recently published a strategic plan for transportation for the county. One of the areas that was highlighted in that plan was to look at transportation deserts. If people are unable to get to jobs, if people are unable to get to doctors, their lives are constrained, their opportunities are capped. So it's important that we find ways to collaboratively add value to urban transportation opportunities within the county. Second area, revitalization of the Port of Chicago. In its quest to attack concentrated poverty, the Commission is going to look to support the work of the Illinois International Port District and other government units to revitalize the Port of Chicago through impact investments, philanthropy, or both. The goal is not only to maximize the port's commercial potential in concert with other Great Lakes ports, but looking inland to maximize its social potential as an engine of economic development in those communities facing the greatest economic challenge. Now, I can tell you the port is an underutilized asset. It is collateral damage of deindustrialization in this area. Yet it has enormous potential, alone and even potentially in spearheading the launch of an intergovernmental compact among all of the Great Lakes ports so they can develop a cohesive strategy, one that really optimizes financial results for all of them. We've already had indications of interest from Cleveland. The chairman has already met with representatives of the Port of New York and New Jersey, extending beyond the Great Lakes, because the port in its day was really the reason that Chicago is Chicago. At the nexus of Lake Michigan and the Mississippi River, its opportunity to bring cargo out and in is what distinguished Chicago from other early settled cities. That can be reimagined, and we can deliver on its promise in a new way for the 21st century. A third area that this committee may consider has to do with social enterprise procurement policies. And as the chairman explained, we're going to be looking at best practices in other cities, but also in other countries, looking at what work to address the problems of poverty, unemployment, public health, education, and the like, how they elsewhere are going about the challenge of driving positive social change. If we look at the County of Los Angeles, for example, the only county in the United States larger than this one. Los Angeles County is now looking to include social enterprises in its contracting and procurement goals. Seems to me we should do the same. We should benefit social enterprises because that which they do, government doesn't need to do, and the nonprofit sector doesn't need to do. Government thereby can do more with less by empowering social enterprises, by empowering mission-driven ventures. The second committee is the Committee on Human Capital. And what is human capital? It consists of people's health, knowledge, skills, and motivation, all required for productive work. Enhancing human capital through education and training is central to a flourishing economy. So what sorts of things might this committee look at? One thing which is high on our list is the worker-owned cooperative. Looking at models in the Madrigal region of Spain, where today worker-owned cooperatives have 100,000 employee owners of businesses, representing the largest in all of Spain in financial services and in retail. Looking at the evergreen cooperatives in Cleveland, where place-based anchor institutions like hospitals and museums, universities can, exercising their corporate social responsibility obligations and their Community Reinvestment Act obligations, can agree to patronize community-based cooperatives that deliver products on a recurring basis to those institutions, thereby generating structural revenue for worker-owned cooperatives. And based on that structural revenue, those cooperatives then can go out and peddle their wares to the larger community. But they're already self-sustaining by virtue of leveraging those place-based anchor institutions. This will empower the counties unemployed, the counties underemployed, where they will now have self-respect. They will be their own bosses. They can call their own shots under appropriate safeguards and controls. Another area this committee might look at is mapping. Without empirical data, we have not the information to make informed decisions. So mapping out workforce development opportunities, mapping out social progress as we proceed. So we will see what works and scale up that which works, and see what isn't working so we can abandon those things or tweak them and get them successful. And also map need. Where are the pockets of need and what kinds of need are there, so that we can tailor and target the way we address social solutions. And the third thing that this committee might look at is the Illinois Medical District, the largest in the country. And the commission, I would hope, would work constructively with the district to encourage the incubation and spawning of innovative, mission-driven, health-related businesses. This is a logical and natural extension of what the district is already doing. You have a consolidation and concentration of healthcare professionals and institutions. They can be thought leaders beyond that which they are currently doing. They can help would-be entrepreneurs grow businesses that will themselves provide value in terms of improvement of healthcare throughout the community. The third committee I'd like to mention is the Committee on Financial Capital. Financial capital is any economic resource measured in terms of money used by entrepreneurs, nonprofit organizations, and businesses to buy what they need to make and distribute their products or to provide their services to the sector of the economy upon which their operation is based. Within this committee, I would hope, for example, that we would seek out opportunities for major community financial leaders, such as the MacArthur Foundation, the Chicago Community Trust, and others. Both of those organizations have partnered with the Calvert Foundation to encourage investment for impact of between $100 and $400 million throughout Chicago's social sector over the next 5 years. They're also embarking upon other initiatives. We can help inform their decision-making. We can work collaboratively. We can tap into the talent pool in this room and beyond to ensure that those decisions are most socially impactful and the missions of those institutions can most effectively be achieved. I would hope that the Commission will collaborate with the Cook County Land Bank Authority and support the efforts of social entrepreneurs and investors eager to redevelop and reuse vacant, abandoned, and foreclosed and tax delinquent properties in an effort to promote affordable housing, economic development, conservation, and job creation. These are homes in which people ought to be living. They ought to have their families in those homes. They should have stable families in stable housing. We can help the Cook County Land Bank, and I would hope that our committees will take on that project to ensure that the land bank's potential is fully realized. J.P. Morgan Chase & Companies has launched the Pro Neighborhoods Initiative. They're investing $125 million over 5 years in collaborations, partnerships, innovative data-driven ideas to revitalize neighborhoods throughout the country left behind in the recovery. We should reach out to them. We should work with them. We should get some of that money for our organizations. We should ensure that Cook County benefits from that initiative and others like that. I want to talk also about the supply chain. The corporate supply chain is often looked at as an exclusively financial, transactional model. I see it as neither financial nor transactional. I see the supply chain as having the opportunity to be elevated to a transformative value chain, where businesses in the county are encouraged to tap into mission-driven ventures for products, for services, tap into nonprofits for products and services, distribute products and services through other social enterprises and nonprofits. Each transaction will not only enhance the financial sustainability of both parties to the transaction, but it will also drive the mission of both parties to the transaction. This is a dream of mine, and I think it's an important one, an achievable one, and I think Cook County should lead the way, set the example so that others follow suit throughout the nation and beyond. And then another thing that this committee will certainly tackle is the attraction of social impact capital to Cook County. J.P. Morgan has forecasted that by the year 2020, there will be $1 trillion of impact capital in the United States, where individuals and institutions will be deploying capital for both financial returns and social returns. We need to create the value propositions here so that those actors see reason to invest in Cook County businesses, in Cook County nonprofits, in the programs that we're going to facilitate, the things we're going to make happen here as collaborator, as catalyst. The Committee on Intellectual Capital is the fourth committee. Intellectual capital is the collective knowledge, whether or not it's documented, of the individuals in an organization or in society. This knowledge can be used to produce wealth, multiple output of physical assets, gain competitive advantage, and or enhance the value of other types of capital. In this committee, I would imagine our data-driven analytics will be housed. Everything we do needs to be measured. If we don't know how things are working, we don't know how to get behind those things that are working. We don't know how to reallocate resources. We don't know how to make the business case for businesses with whom we want to engage. We don't know how to make the investment case for those we're seeking funding from. We don't know how to make the philanthropic case from foundations and other philanthropists unless we can measure what we're doing and have that measurement drive our decision making so we can continue to know what's working, build on those strengths, and decide, okay, this isn't as good. We need to reallocate to those things that are most successful. In this Committee of Intellectual Capital, we'll also be looking at leadership. We'll have a talk today about leadership and change management. It's important that the commission and the commissioners understand the nature of change. What is the pushback? How to overcome it? What is the language that is to be used to make change happen? Not only internally within the commission, but externally in working with leaders of all of the stakeholder organizations or going to be necessary or desirable for us to achieve the ambitions we're carving out for ourselves. Cross-sector alliances. Again, not only public-private partnerships, but nonprofit partnerships, nonprofit corporate partnerships, nonprofit foundation partnerships, corporate foundation partnerships, every permutation of relationships between and among the various stakeholders that are all going to be part of this effort and all see reason for them to join us. And then finally, within this committee is the notion of optimizing social impact of the county board itself, its agencies, its departments. When looking at legislation and regulatory measures, we serve as the think tank. If they want to ask us to look at a measure that is proposed to ensure that there is not unintended adverse social impact and to ensure that positive social impact is maximized, we are here to take that on, and the ordinance creating this commission charges us with that responsibility. So we will engage the Cook County Board proactively to let everybody understand what we're here for, what we want to do for them, how to make their work more effective and impactful. And I believe that too will become a model nationally and beyond. And finally, the communications and outreach, finally the Social Capital Committee. Social capital is a form of economic and cultural capital in which social networks are central, transactions are marked by reciprocity, trust, and cooperation, and market agents produce goods and services not mainly for themselves, but for common good. Social capital concerns the institutions that help us maintain and develop human capital in partnership with others. For example, families, communities, businesses, trade unions, schools, and voluntary organizations. Within this committee will be our communications and outreach effort. You will hear today, for example, from Mike Heisey, who will be appearing on behalf of Social Enterprise Alliance, to talk about how SEA is going to be taking on the lion's share of the work associated with communication and outreach, but also offering capacity building workshops for nonprofit leaders throughout the county, inviting nonprofits to think about their core competencies and their underutilized assets and how they naturally point to specific earned revenue strategies they might consider pursuing to make them more sustainable, to allow them to diversify sources of revenue, and to keep them alive and impactful. The Social Capital Committee will also look at real estate redevelopment and offer consultative services to real estate developers and stakeholders. Specifically, what I'm concerned about here is development that has unintended results that hurt communities, where money gets put into communities for the purpose of putting housing outside the reach of communities, where gentrification is encouraged rather than community rebuilding. We have a role to educate, inform, and guide those decisions. We also have a role in binding our wounds and building bridges between law enforcement and the minority communities they serve. In my view, we need to push for a police community reconciliation process, a process whereby that which has happened is acknowledged and everybody starts with a position of truth, and from that, and only from that, can progress in this area actually unfold, as well as other social justice initiatives. And the final, I guess I have one more here. Collaborative common economy. There is a notion percolating throughout Europe about the nature of the economy and how collaborative commons economies really serve populations well, where they see the purpose of commerce as meeting the needs of people and ensuring a decent life for them. I'd like to have some of those folks come here and talk to us about how that happens. And I'd also like to look at food deserts and consider how the commission might help Cook County residents in food deserts band together to build and maintain neighborhood stores. They might adopt membership models, connect with local businesses or nonprofits, or even tap into new crowdfunding opportunities. And we're going to have opportunities to collaborate with the University of Chicago, the Obama Library, and others down the road. But that gives you some sense of what sorts of projects the committees will be considering. Let me talk just a moment about the nature of the process within these committees. Each committee chair, and Chairman Garcia will identify the committee chairs as well as how the committees themselves are being populated. Each committee chair will have the authority to establish subcommittees and appoint subcommittee chairs. And the committee and subcommittee chairs will encourage subject matter experts as well as members of the public to join committees and subcommittees. We need help. Obviously, what we've carved out here is an enormous undertaking. We need everybody who's willing to raise his or her hand. And Chairman Garcia and I will serve on all of the committees ex officio, contributing where we can. So we thank you for being here today. We thank you for whatever help you can offer to this effort. There's strength in numbers, and it's important that all of us pull in the same direction. So thanks to all of you, and I'll turn it back to the chairman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lane. As you can see, there's plenty on the menu. He has just shared many ideas, many areas of interest in the field of social innovation, and made quite a few suggestions for the committees that I now will announce. First, I'd like to thank all of the commission members who are here today. It looks like we have a perfect house, perfect attendance on the part of everyone who confirmed to be here. There are some people on vacation, but I want to thank everyone for making every effort to be here. First, I'll announce the committees so that we don't go from right to left. I'm going to announce the committee, and then the committee members. At that point, I will ask each of the chairs and members to tell us their name and what it is, very briefly, that they hope to contribute to accomplish, or what their hope for the work of the committee will be. So first, the Committee on Public Capital will be chaired by Reggie Greenwood. Mr. Greenwood, I saw you come earlier. Would you grab a mic and tell us something about yourself, please?
Thank you very much. So my name is Reggie Greenwood. I'm the Economic Development Director of the South Suburban Mayors and Managers, as well as the Executive Director of an affiliated group, Chicago Southland Economic Development Corporation. I'm just thrilled by the opportunity to work with Commissioner Garcia on this project. Particularly interested in the idea of how public capital can be accumulated and used to promote social innovation and economic development opportunities in the region, particularly the Chicago Southland. The topics that were listed under public capital are all very interesting, particularly the port. One of the real assets of the Chicago Southland is the unique logistics assets of rail and highway transportation. So the idea of working closely to reinvigorate the Port of Chicago as a really major asset of our region is something I think is very important to us. And I look forward to working with the new director of the port and thinking through how to integrate it into the overall economic development of our region. Certainly working with the Cook County on urban transportation and the new plan they just put out is really also an opportunity to consider how to build upon, again, this unique asset of our region, of the public capital, indeed, is our logistics assets. So this gives us something to build upon, and something really exciting to work for. I'm pleased to be here and look forward to working with other members of the commission to explore how public capital can become a major part of what we accomplish.
Great, thank you so much, Mr. Greenwood. The co-chair of the committee will be John Yonan, Superintendent John Yonan. Would you please tell us something about yourself, Superintendent?
Thank you, Chairman. So I spent 19 years at the City of Chicago as an entry-level engineer, and about 4.5 years ago was asked to come over to become the Superintendent of the Transportation and Highway Department. My department is the ones that have been working on this long-range transportation plan for about 3 years, and so we're very excited to be able to have that available. It's online if you want to take a look at it. And what it is it's a policy of how transportation needs to be done in this region. So very excited about being part of this commission, and we really believe there's a blueprint on how connecting Cook County, connecting communities, connecting economic development are all part of transportation.
So this is Cook County in the 21st century. Thank you so much, Superintendent. Next we have Alderwoman Sue Sadlowski Garza from Chicago Southeast Side 10th Ward.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Sue Sadlowski Garza. I'm the Alderwoman of the 10th Ward. The 10th Ward is home to a tremendous amount of assets that a lot of people don't even know about. The Port Authority sits in my ward. For a very long time, the Port Authority has gone it's very underutilized, it's mismanaged. I'm very excited that I sit on this committee and that we can work together with all these entities to revitalize it and breathe some air into the port without giving it away to private entities. I was actually area vice president for the Chicago Teachers Union and a counselor in Chicago Public Schools. I'm the first ever Chicago Teachers Union member ever to hold a seat in City Council. So when you talk about we will be disruptive agents of change, I got that down.
I believe that. The final member of the Committee on Public Capital is Mayor Eugene Williams of Linwood.
Thank you. Hello, everybody, and thank you for this opportunity. Actually, I am, as was stated, I'm the mayor of Linwood. I've been there for about 10 years. I'm also a past construction worker, sheet metal worker. We did the Sears Tower way back when, 100 years. So I'm hoping that something, also that developed to open up a teaching job. I taught the trade specifically at CVS High School, and then for the union, Local 73, I taught their apprenticeship program until I decided to become mayor or something like that. But the thing is, what I'm hoping is that something in my background can help to make me valuable, because I can see a lot of what we've talked about will be new and very interesting to me, and I kind of picture all life as like a big, huge learning experience. So I'm anxious to do whatever I can to be helpful. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor Williams. Now, the Committee on Human Capital will be chaired by Maria Kim. Ms. Kim, I saw you arrive earlier.
Indeedy. Good evening, everyone. My name is Maria Kim. I have the honor of serving as president and CEO of an organization called CARA. CARA helps adults affected by homelessness and poverty to re-enter the workforce. We also, as part of our solution of change, we operate 2 for-profit social enterprises. So Clean Slate, for those of you that live in the city and see us walking up and down the street, hopefully cleaning your neighborhood and hopefully smiling at you and saying good morning or good afternoon. And we also run a contract staffing business, so kind of a boutique manpower, basically helping to place folks into contract opportunities while we ready them for the workforce. So for me, I hope to bring a lens of kind of purpose sector as well as profits or private sector experience to this conversation. We do a lot of public-private sector partnerships in order to get folks placed into permanent employment over the long term. We are all about helping folks to reimagine talent. So sometimes folks tend to write off a whole population thinking, they're not going to bring anything to my workforce. We're getting pretty good at turning that conversation upside down and selling on the value of the talent pipeline we have throughout this city. And finally, I think we bring a little bit of a national lens. We're part of a national coalition portfolio of social enterprises from Red F, an organization based out of California, that's all about incubating and lifting up social enterprises that can scale. So I hope to bring those perspectives to the conversation. Thank you so much.
Excellent, thank you, Maria. Our co-chair of the Human Capital Committee will be Carrie Thomas. Ms. Thomas is not here today. She is the executive director of the Chicago Jobs Council. She had a scheduled vacation. That's an excused absence in my book. Other members of the Committee on Human Capital include Mr. Mike Hobbs from Engineered Glass Products. Is he here? Okay, I wasn't sure if he was going to be here or not. He also has an excused absence, but very enthusiastic. Our final member will be Marc McHugh. Are you here, Mr. McHugh? He has not arrived. He is the president of Envision Unlimited, a social enterprise organization that works with people with disabilities. So those will be the members of the Human Capital Committee. The Committee on Financial Capital will be chaired by Wendy Raymer, and I know she's in the room.
Hi everybody, my name is Wendy. My day job is in the Community Affairs Department for BMO Harris Bank. Really honored and thrilled to be a part of this commission. As I was listening to Marc going through all the different committees and what they were doing, I think you missed two things. You covered everything else except animal husbandry and space exploration. So those were the only two things I could think of that we were not going to be accountable for. Maybe there's a commission we can, do on that. So yeah, there's a lot of vision here. And for me, I think all of our jobs is to take this big world of the Cook County resources and passion that we all have and funnel those down into actionable items. And I think that is one thing I really enjoy doing through my work and through my personal board experience and all of that. These are huge issues that we're facing and it becomes overwhelming. But let's pick away at it and really funnel things down. Can't do everything all at once at the same time. But I really want to, as part of my committee, and I'm sure everybody else, is really get some actual takeaway things so that we are measuring success and, really showing that impact and just working on it, chipping it away. And I can't wait to get started.
Thank you so much, Ms. Raymer. The co-chair of the Committee on Financial Capital is the chief of the Cook County Bureau of Economic Development, Michael Jassel.
Thank you, Chairman, and good afternoon. And thank you to everyone here. So my name is Michael Jassel, and I'm Bureau Chief for the Bureau of Economic Development of Cook County. And at the Bureau, our role is multifold. Most significantly, we are charged under the President to be the principal entity working across the region and the county in supporting and promoting the economic growth of the county as a strong economic engine. To that fold, we've engaged in a couple of things. One is working beyond our county borders because the reality is that it's tough for the county can only be as strong as the region is, and we need to take a regional approach. So that's something we've been very much working with our collar counties in the city of Chicago. And then bringing that to ground, what does that mean in specific communities, particularly in our most challenged communities? And one of the areas we've been very focused on is in our south suburbs, but very much doing things in partnership. Some of you might have seen recently, yesterday, announcement of a concerted effort by the county, the city of Chicago, and our South Suburban Mayors and Managers Association on fostering manufacturing and what we can do to grow manufacturing in key areas. So discrete efforts like that, bringing it to ground in communities, also ensuring that we work very much with the private sector to promote development and growth in a way that is socially responsible. So we look forward to taking up the mantle of this challenge, working with the Commission, all the members of the Commission and the public to foster growth that really is supportive of all our communities and all strata of economic income. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The other member of the Committee on Financial Capital is Mr. Harold Rice.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank Commissioner Garcia and my good friend, Attorney Mark Lane, for allowing me to be a part of this great group of individuals, as well as the mission that we're undertaking. It is huge, but it's accomplishable. My name is Harold Rice, President and CEO of CETA. We service about 400,000 to 500,000 clients in all of the county, and our goal is to bring people out of poverty and to move them towards a level of self-sufficiency. So I'm looking forward to being a part of this group, and my background, of course, has been in nonprofits, but primarily has been in the for-profit arena, 16 years of that, has been as an owner-operator of McDonald's restaurants and owning a number of for-profit businesses. So I'm looking to add to what I can bring to this esteemed group and this esteemed panel and this overall goal. Rising tide raises all boats, and so looking forward to that.
Great. Thank you so much, Mr. Rice. Another member of this committee is a disruptor of stagnant economies, particularly in the Pullman community in Chicago, and he wants to be and is being contagious. That's why he's on this committee. Mr. David Doig.
Thank you, Commissioner. Again, my name is David Doig. I'm president of Chicago Neighborhood Initiatives. We're a not-for-profit community development organization. As the Commissioner said, located in the Pullman neighborhood, but we do development throughout the South Side. In Pullman, we've coordinated over $150 million of development, brought over 1,000 new jobs. We're successful in getting President Obama to designate Pullman the city's first national monument. So that's also creating many jobs. And so we also, Mark touched on food deserts, so we're actually very engaged and involved in bringing grocery stores to food deserts. We're part of the development team that's doing the Whole Foods in Englewood, which will open at the end of September, and we're also developing a Mariana's grocery store at 39th and King Drive in Bronzeville. So that's a part of our mission. We also coordinate investment through New Market tax credits. We're one of the largest CDEs. We've coordinated over $50 million of new market investment, and we run a micro-lending fund. We've lent about $1 million in small business loans to local entrepreneurs. Our typical loan size is about $14,000, and been happy to report that that's also created a lot of new jobs and provided capital for businesses that wouldn't otherwise have that opportunity. So I'm excited to be a part of this commission, and thank you, Chairman Garcia, for your involving me in this.
Thank you so much. The fourth committee that will be working is the Committee on Intellectual Capital. This committee is chaired by Eric Weinheimer. Eric is Eric here? No, right? He's on vacation, a scheduled vacation also, but he has agreed to be our chair. Our co-chair is Howard Males, who is the chairman of the county's Economic Development Advisory Committee. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Howard Males. Good evening, everybody. I am very excited about being a member of this commission. I may be the only member where the commissioner and I are joined by bylaws, because both of the bylaws of my Economic Development Advisory Committee and this commission have us as position holders, but I'm here for other purposes. I'm chairman of Economic Development Advisory Committee and on the President's Council of Economic Advisors. Also, I am happy to report that I have a private sector life that makes me available from 3 o'clock on most days, where I am CEO of Research Bros, a research company that's in its 31st year here in the city of Chicago. The priorities that I have measure up very nicely and align with outcome and outcome measurement. Also unintended consequences, which you can't know unless you know that you're measuring the right thing. Very often we think we're doing something, and in terms of EDAC, the Economic Development Advisory Committee, much of what I do and the commitment of our members is to create jobs through economic development around the county, with a particular emphasis in the Southland. When we have any action that we take, for the past 3 years, we have been asking the applicants who receive tax incentives to return with evidence to the Bureau, run by Mike Jasso, that the number of jobs that they talked about delivering, and in fact their initial dream, which became a reality, did in fact happen. We do look at outcomes, and I'm looking forward to looking at outcomes for this commission, and I thank the chair and the vice chair for the opportunity to serve. I'll put you on my bylaws anytime, Commissioner.
Thank you so much, Howard. The other member of the Intellectual Capital Committee is Emil Cambry. Emil?
Thank you for the opportunity to be on this commission. My name is Emil Cambry, founder of Blue 1647. We're a network of technology and entrepreneurship centers growing to 6 by the end of this year. So what we've been able to do is start with the hypothesis is that innovation takes place in our communities. It's our job to cultivate it, provide the resources, access, and opportunities. And that's what we've been able to do in a short amount of time. But really what gets me excited about this opportunity is being able to see how we can provide a pathway and that spirit of entrepreneurship and innovation so that everybody has an opportunity to tap into it. It's really about providing that pathway so that somebody who is a little younger can say, you know what, in a couple of years I'll be able to tap into that. And for that person who might say, you know what, I want to tap into it because I've been working someplace that I'm not excited about, they can tap into it. So that's where I find myself in, and hopefully being able to tap that into data-driven, proven methods so that we can have an effective system.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cambry. Two other members of this committee who are not here today include Evelyn Diaz, who is the CEO of the Heartland Alliance, and Mr. Robert Gertner from the University of Chicago, professor in business and strategy. The fifth committee is the Committee on Social Capital. This committee will be chaired by Mr. Victor Dixon, and he is here.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Chairman Garcia and Vice Chair Lane. I appreciate the opportunity to serve on this committee. I'm the President and CEO of the Safer Foundation, and we have, for more than 44 years now, worked exclusively with people with criminal records, pre and post release, to help them provide a pathway back into a productive life that breaks the cycle of them going in and out of jail and prison. And we operate 2 community correction centers, work release centers. We have 580 inmates on the west side of Chicago, helping them prior to the release get training and treatment and securing employment. I'm very excited about the commission. I do think it's a huge challenge, but I'm very interested in the idea of economic reconciliation. I had the privilege of serving on the Chicago Police Accountability Task Force, and one of the things that we recommended to the mayor was that there really needed to be some effort to work on socio-economic development, because there's a direct connection between the poverty that exists in certain communities, the level of crime and incarceration. And while we want to see, things like trust between community and police, we will never really solve these problems until there is some economic investment and there's a different mentality around doing that, one in which we don't invest simply in places, because that generally means gentrification, but we invest in people and places and making sure that not just the places that develop, but the people develop along with them, the families that are impacted. So I'm very excited about the committee. I hope that we are able to engage the community in the work that's being done, really help find ways to involve them in the planning, and really find a way to make sure that everything we do is done from a different philosophical standpoint that is really focused on uplifting people and not just places. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Dixon. The co-chair of this committee will be Valerie Leonard, someone who needs no introduction.
Well, I'll introduce myself to myself. Okay. Hi, I'm Valerie Leonard. I am very excited, and I thank Chairman Garcia as well as Vice Chairman Lane for selecting me for this position. I am from the West Side. My day job is consulting with nonprofit organizations, helping them to build their capacity through things like strategic planning, board development, blah, blah, blah. My real passion is working in the community. I am part of the executive committee of the North Lawndale Community Coordinating Council, and we are coordinating the first comprehensive plan that we've had in the community for over 50 years. And we're doing that along about 12 different sectors. We have just completed a snapshot of our North Lawndale organizational capacity. We're also looking at building the physical environment, but we want to take a two-prong approach, looking at building the physical environment while building people so that they can take advantage of all the changes that will take place. I am very excited about the work that we'll be doing on this committee. I guess my ears perked when we talked about looking at the capacity of the county agencies, and that's going to be a Herculean task, but I think it's very well worth it. We know that there are several thousands of hostages being held all across the state in the nonprofit sector, and we need to come up with ways that the nonprofit sector can survive through things other than grants and contracts. So without further ado, I will turn this mic loose. I never met a word I didn't like, and I feel the hook, so I'm looking forward to the work. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Leonard. Next on this committee, we'll hear from Kay Sujata, who is with the Chicago Foundation for Women.
Thank you, Chairman Garcia, for including me on this commission. The Chicago Foundation for Women invests in nonprofit organizations that serve women and girls in the 6-county region. We focus on economic security, freedom from violence, and access to health and health information. So we truly believe that women and girls are the cornerstones of their communities, and given what is happening with young Black and brown men in our communities, it's the women who are holding up more than half the sky in those communities. So we're particularly committed to making sure that women and girls, particularly girls of color, have the ability and can fully participate in revitalizing and growing the economic conditions in their communities. So that's what I particularly bring to this committee, to this commission.
Thank you, Ms. Sujata. Also on this committee is Mr. Marc Lovelace.
I'd like to first thank the chairman and the vice chairman for suggesting me to be on this commission. I've been around and worked in civil rights and social justice for pretty much all my life. I was recently in this airport and waiting to come back to Chicago, and this woman asked me, well, what do you do? And I said, well, I'm a civil rights advocate. And she said, isn't that sort of an old thing? And I said, she says, are they still messing with y'all? I was in a southern part anyway. But I'm glad to be here. I worked for over 25, oh gosh, I hate to say it, years with civil rights organizations such as Rainbow Push, and worked with Reverend Jackson. I've been on the board of the Social Enterprise Alliance for the past 5 years. I am currently a student studying social entrepreneurship at Roosevelt University, at one of the only, I think the only accredited graduate social enterprise program in the country. And my time there so far has been short, but it has been eye-opening. You may hear things about yourselves and what I do, because I am now a blogger for the Huffington Post, and I'm really sort of happy about that. But I'm also the founder of the Coalition for Justice and Respect. And I should say that years ago, I was the first openly gay elected official in the state of Illinois. The Coalition for Justice and Respect is an African-American, same-gender loving, Black LGBT civil rights organization, or traditional civil rights organization. We primarily address two issues: the issues of racism and the LGBT community, and the issues of stigma and the African American community. So we have a full plate all day. Recently, we've been awarded a grant through a partnership that we initiated with 3 different entities within the city, using the model of the idea of social entrepreneurship, which basically, to me, is leveraging opportunity and managing expectation. This grant is for promoting PrEP, which is the leading.
Attention. This is your building engineer. We are just letting you know that the low-rise elevators we only have 1 elevator working at this time. Stairwell A, B, C, and D are all active right now at the moment. For the high rise, all 3 elevators are working just as normal. This is only an announcement for the low rise. Otherwise, they use car 2, which is in service. Thank you very much.
Okay, now one of the things that people like the chairman likes to tell me that sometimes I take too long to make my point, but I just want to say that was not a part of my presentation. The last of it is that with this partnership, we're being able to get the word out about PrEP, which is a HIV prevention medicine, and we're working with the City Department of Human Services, the Cook County Providence Hospital, and neighborhood organizations such as the Ellis Park and other things. But so that's what I'm doing, and I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. And what I expect from this, I guess I can exit by using the words of Dr. Martin Luther King. I'm just going to try to do God's will.
All right. Well, thank you very much. The 5th member of the Social Capital Committee, though she's batting cleanup here today, is Pam Rodriguez. Pam?
And I will be very brief. I'm Pam Rodriguez. I am so excited and honored to be here with these folks, to have been asked by the commissioner to work on this issue. I am the president and CEO of TASK, Treatment Alternatives for Safe Communities. We have for 40 years been working to break cycles of system involvement for people who have substance use, mental health, criminal justice, and child welfare involvement. We have lots of experience working with foundations, in particular as investors, to innovate new and effective approaches to dealing with the issues so many individuals face. Finally, we have a lot of experience, particularly around the country, in helping build community capacity and organizational capacity to address many of the challenges that I'm sure we will all be talking about as our work continues. So thank you, and turn the panel back to you.
Thank you so much, Pam. So those are the 5 working committees of the commission. We will now proceed to the next segment of the program here tonight. We're going to have 2 presentations. I will ask the speakers to try to adhere to between 5 and 7 minutes in their presentations, because we want to get to the Q&A and, of course, public comment, and then announcement of the schedule of future meetings of this commission. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Mr. Michael Heisey. He is the founder and CEO of Nutricio, at least that's how you pronounce it in Spanish. Nutricio, perhaps? A social enterprise focused on good nutrition and a good social enterprise consultant to Catholic Charities. Mike is the director of Social Enterprise Alliance, Chicago, on whose behalf he'll describe its pro bono support, I repeat, pro bono, free, gratis, support of the Commission's outreach and communication strategy, including the capacity building workshop SEA will develop and offer throughout Cook County. Thank you so much for being here today, Mike.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks for having me. I just really quick want to say that I'm really kind of connected to the work that you guys are doing. I'm originally from the East Side, so I think it's great to spend some time kind of rebuilding the Port Authority. Also, my first social enterprise venture was Chris Mobile Grocery. It was the first mobile grocery in Chicago to accept food stamps on a digital platform. So I definitely have experience in the area, and it's a much needed initiative. So What I'm going to talk about, basically, I'm also a board member at SCA Chicago. I run the digital marketing and communication for them. We've had short sample size, but over the last 3 months, we've generated a lot of interest through our Facebook, social media, and email campaigns. I'm just going to go through this guy again.
Sorry, Michael.
No, it's okay.
Low-rise elevators serving floors 2 to 13. We only have one elevator operating, and that is car number 2. Stairwells A, B, C, and D are all open at this time. If you would like to use those, use them as they're at your discretion. Otherwise, you will have to use the stairs. For anyone in the high rise from floors 14 through 20, your elevators are working perfectly fine with nothing wrong with them. Once again, low rise floors 2 to 13. Please use car 2 or stairwell or D at this time. Sorry for the inconvenience. Thanks.
All right, thanks for that. So part of the communication plan I'm proposing, I think the brand is pretty well established. I looked at the website that was started already, and I think there's 4 major initiatives which the brand rolls around. I mean, Cook County, the Board of Commissioners, and the involvement, I think, is pretty well known. I think before a mass marketing campaign and a distribution campaign, it first starts off with laying the groundwork. I think out of these 4 initiatives, there's been plenty of articles written about food deserts. Does the constituency know what the Port Authority has done, what it's been through? Is there any history about that? I think that we first start off by everyone contributing their research and their knowledge and putting together and strategically posting things about what has been done about these issues, what are the problems with this, what are the potential. And we have that all laid out on social media, the blog on the website, all these digital avenues first before we start heavily promoting this. So when people do get to the site and they're curious about it, they might find something that they're interested in, food deserts, or it's the port, or it's revitalization. So all the information is there so they can freely look and see what information and kind of a little bit about the history of some of these problems. It would be great to profile all the members on the committee and their passion for helping these ideas. So your personal work with the social enterprises or government that you've been working on, maybe weekly release a profile. I don't know if anyone has their personal blogs or their company blogs, but information about yourselves. I think that really lets the public really get to know a little bit more personally the people that are spending their time and effort to try to fix some of these problems. The other part of the grassroots non-digital is a grassroots campaign. Who are the partnerships in these neighborhoods? Who are the community organizations, the religious institutions? And this goes by personal relationships, reaching out. Hey, do you know what's going on? Maybe send out a one-page flyer back and back. This is the Cook County Commission on Social Innovation. These are the points. These are things to do, and then ask to speak to their neighbors in the community to really get this message out going forward. One part of the digital campaign, and I think through social media channels and email, is collecting email, building a contact list, looking for people who want to step up and do this, because it's, being in the social service sector for 5 years, I know that nothing works when you try to do it yourself. So the more partners, the better, and the more people that want to spend their time trying to help solve some of these issues, I think it should be out there and continually to screen, and at least keep everyone informed of what's going on. This is what happened at the committee meeting. This is the initiatives going on this month. These are the events coming up. I think being very transparent. The other thing too, I know to build trust with people is that you're gonna get messages on Facebook. There's gonna be replies to emails. I think, responding very quickly and honestly, and sometimes it's, you know what, I don't have an answer to that question, or come to the next committee meeting and ask someone. But I think that there needs to be interaction both back and forth with the public. And all this being said, I think we need to share stories of change through online media channels, especially from clients. And I know a lot of people mentioned they work in social services. I think those are the stories that motivate people and get people on our team to make change, because there's nothing more powerful than a success story with some of the problems that we've all dealt with. So I think that could come through blogs, through video interviews, through different forms of digital media. But I think that when you think, what is the end goal of being here today? it's to create success stories. So let's share success stories that have already happened to motivate people to get behind the committee to make things happen and to make change. So that's my kind of communications. And then quickly, the capacity building workshop will be held in 3 different locations around Cook County. This will be hosted by Social Enterprise Alliance, the Chicago chapter. We're inviting leaders from community organizations, non-for-profits, religious institutions, and anyone else interested in market-driven social change. The series will cover basic of what is a social enterprise. Mark talked about this earlier, and I see this myself. There are nonprofits that have resources that are underutilized, and kind of going through is like, these are some options for you to utilize, undervalued resources and be able to look at different revenue streams when we're in a tough budget situation in Illinois. So about 2 to 4 hours around, we will bring print materials, we'll bring takeaways for people to bring back to the community to share. And there's a good model that I've been through before, and then I think the great thing about the Board of Directors on Social Enterprise Alliance in Chicago is that there's a lot of people from many different backgrounds. So we have a well-rounded team and a couple academics that are used to being in this environment. So I'm excited for it, and I look forward to being part of this team. So thank you very much for your time, and I look forward.
Thank you very much, Mr. Heisey. Our second presenter is J. Jeffrey Spahn. He owns and operates the executive education firm Leading Leaders, Inc., which counsels clients including Accenture, Motorola, ServiceMasters, FMC, and Northern Trust on best leadership practices. He will offer his advice to the Commission on how it can most effectively tap into the strengths of its leaders and those with whom it will collaborate. Good afternoon.
Thank you. Actually, I'm also an expert in space exploration. I'm co-chairing a committee, and I'm looking for a co-chair. Wow. Evolved engagement in social innovation requires an evolved engagement in leadership. I'm here in a group of leaders. Everyone's either a CEO, a president, a founder, an entrepreneur, a teacher, who are gathering together to create committees that have co-chairs that are going to be leading each other. And the co-chairs are going to be, and the committees are going to be engaging leaders within and across sectors. It's just a whole collection of leaders engaging in social innovation, not social work, not just social disruption, but social innovation to create and do something that hasn't been done before. The challenge is, most of our thinking and our conceptual framework and our habits about leadership are orientated in what it means to lead followers. And that's very important and necessary, but that's not what's happening here. That's not just what's happening here. You are being challenged to lead other leaders. And challenged to lead other leaders, not just in disruption or work, but innovation. Putting those two things together is an evolved process that requires evolved leadership. What does that mean? I'd like to give a little perspective in terms of leadership's evolution. We all know that the solo leader chain of command has evolved into shared leadership of collaboration. And that's a huge evolution, a huge shift. But let's look at the word collaboration. It's rooted in co-labor. Co-labor is an industrial age concept, an industrial age practice. what's emerging in the digital age in terms of leadership.